Let's be honest, sometimes your seasonal decor can look a little more dollar store than it does designer, and I'm sure that's not what you were going for. Listen, it's not because you don't have good taste, it's because you're making some very simple mistakes that a lot of people make that makes their seasonal decor look terrible. So today I'm breaking down 3 reasons why your seasonal decor might look kind of cheap and what you can do about it. Whether your style is minimal, cozy, or somewhere in between, you're going to find that these 3 tips will help you in any setting for seasonal decor. We'll talk about choosing cohesive pieces that work together, why bigger and fewer is usually better, and how to create a whole seasonal mood and atmosphere without decor. I'm showing you some of my house decorated for fall, and you can see that I have a really cohesive look going on. So I've certainly chosen a color palette, I've chosen a theme to some degree, and I don't really deviate from that. And I think that's really helpful because when you're buying, it allows you to focus on the things that really fit your decor, and it really allows you to add to your collection a little bit more thoughtfully and not just kind of go on a home goods spree every single time you're there. Because at every store, they're always going to have really beautiful seasonal items, and you can spend a lot of money on that kind of thing if you don't have a specific look in mind. So, for example, during the Christmas season, you might have a look that's really whimsical, where you have like a gingerbread theme, or it feels kind of childlike and there's candy canes and just bright colors, or maybe even pastel colors, or maybe you like things that are related to the Grinch, or that sort of thing. And then you also might really love like more of a vintage Christmas where the Santa looks kind of vintage, and you love ornaments with a lot of sheen. Maybe you love tinsel. Maybe you love your kind of classic red and green, but there's different reds and greens to like. So maybe you like reds and greens that are really jewel toned, or maybe you like ones that are more bright. And depending on where you fall within all of that, then you're going to kind of land on a style of decor. So, if you like something that is pretty playful, then maybe you're going to have like gnomes and woodland creatures and that sort of thing in your decor. Whereas if you like more of a vintage look, then you're going to tend more towards those items. And I think that this is something that will really help you to kind of curb your buying if you start to pay attention to this. And I also think it's the reason that sometimes people's older decor doesn't age real well with their newer decor, because as their taste changes, they continue to put out the old decor, but it no longer fits the theme or style of the new decor. So it may be something that you want to really pay attention to, because that way, as you add to your collection, you're able to have pieces that really make sense and are cohesive with one another. And you can do this in color palette, in style, and in texture and that sort of thing. And so just really be paying attention to the pieces that you like. And this is a reason why I think it's so important to pull your decor out before you shop for new decor, because when you put all your decor out in one spot before you start decorating in your home, you're really going to notice the differences between the types of decor that you have. The next tip is to use fewer and bigger items for your decor rather than smaller ones. And I know this is tricky because there's so much out there in the retail market that are small, inexpensive decor pieces that are very easy to add to your cart because they're so guilt-free since they're so inexpensive. But what you end up doing is really trying to get a look with adding more and more pieces. I see people do this on their mantle all the time, and you can see on my mantle, I just have my large vase and I have the florals that are in that and a large piece of artwork. And then I've put a couple of books and a pheasant on there, but really the pieces that have impact are those large pieces. And with this centerpiece that I made earlier this year, you can really see kind of how I put together something that majors on those larger pieces. And though I do use some smaller pieces, really the impact is from the large pieces. The small pieces very much play kind of a second fiddle type of role to the large pieces. So this is like a large Tennessee gourd that's dried. And I am pairing that actually with a couple of the gourds that are kind of gilded from Target's Dollar Spot this year. But when I picked these up, I was very careful about it because I knew that they would need to be just kind of an accent piece. And what I picked up as my major item was this Tennessee gourd. And so you can see, I mean, it fills up my bowl almost entirely, like 2/3 of the bowl is filled up by my large accent piece. And then I am only just adding this as an additional texture because it's metallic rather than organic. And so those are nice next to one another. And then, of course, I'm adding this really small bowl that has acorns in it. But then I'm adding large magnolia leaves. And so definitely the high impact pieces are the large pieces in this arrangement. And I think that's true on other focal points as well, like mantles. You want to use larger and fewer pieces, things that sit out on your kitchen countertops and that sort of thing. And then honestly, just in general, rather than putting a little bit of decor all over the place, I choose key areas that I like to have decor on and just focus on it in those specific areas rather than feeling like I need to put decor everywhere. Now, if you do have small pieces or you find small pieces that you love enough that you want to bring them into your home, I would just suggest kind of grouping them together because they have a lot of impact when they all come together into a common space rather than kind of sprinkling them throughout your house and getting very little impact that way. I like to do this in my kitchen hutch, which is a combination of items that I use and smaller decor pieces. Now, the next thing to do is to create an atmosphere. So that might mean doing some fall baking and then having that baking sitting out on a beautiful stand, or using your Dutch oven and making soup. Or it might mean having seasonal supplies like dish soap and hand soap that has a beautiful scent that reminds you of the season, or having a essential oil blend going in your diffuser that has a seasonal feel to it. Having blankets out for you and your family and your guests to use. And all of those things really contribute to a seasonal feel in your home that makes people feel like, okay, it's fall, it's cozy, I should curl up here, it's an invitation. And I think those things are honestly more important than decor. Make your home feel seasonal and not contrived, but still really nicely lived in. Okay, I hope you've seen that filling every surface is not the goal. The goal is to make your home feel intentional, calm, pulled together, and to bring the outdoors in to the season. Even a few thoughtful changes can make your home go from being thrown together to really designer. If this video gave you ideas for the next seasonal refresh, I hope you will hit that like button. And if you want to look at more seasonal decor content, I think you'll enjoy this playlist below.